Okay, so I never expected myself to rant about that vegan teacher. I know most of you probably already know who that vegan teacher is and know just how many dramas, whether real or not, had she participated in. Normally, I would never even think about sharing my thoughts on this with others, but it turned out that some time ago I found my old microphone. Nonetheless, seeing that YouTube decided to utterly spam my main page with Miss Katie's and other YouTubers' videos on this topic, I decided to check for myself what that whole That Vegan Teacher is all about and why is it being so popular. That Vegan Teacher prides herself with her popularity mainly on TikTok, although she also has a YouTube channel and a Spotify account, as it can be seen in her Twitter link. What you notice upon entering Miss Katie's TikTok is that she tends to post approximately every hour, unless she's asleep, I guess. I don't know about you, but if I had TikTok, I would rather not post every hour. Of course, that doesn't prove anything, so let's go on with our ramble. At first glance, you can see that Miss Katie is simply a cheerful vegan, who tries to convince others to be vegan too in her own unique way. And everything would be fine, as long as we don't look at these videos. Something I found unexpected is that the most popular video on That Vegan Teacher's YouTube channel is called About Tommy Innit and His Insane Fans. What a title! I have no idea what even happened between Tommy Innit and That Vegan Teacher, though from what I've seen it all started with That Vegan Teacher noticing the popularity of Tommy Innit, who, let me remind you, is 16-year-old that has nearly 6.5 million subscribers on YouTube. Anywho, and Miss Katie became consumed by the task of converting Tommy and his millionth audience into vegans. But we already know that. But what made That Vegan Teacher receive such an influx of hate to the point that she had to start disabling comments under her videos? It was all about a couple of unsavory and tasteless jokes and inserts that Miss Katie put in her responses to Tommy Innit's activity, presumably not knowing that Tommy is still a minor. Oh, wait. Remember when I was talking about Miss Katie's video on Tommy Innit? Exactly. In that video, Miss Katie calls Tommy Innit quote-unquote this kid, which further proves that when she recorded those responses, she knew that Tommy was a minor. Now, think about what happens when a 55-year-old person throws unsavory jokes and sometimes even winks at a 16-year-old. Well, you probably already guessed that. But back to the topic. Miss Katie in her videos explains why the viewers should go vegan. Personally, I see nothing wrong with being a vegan or a vegetarian or a freegan, and I know this is just a lifestyle and no one should force a person to change it. Yeah, about that precisely. What That Vegan Teacher doesn't seem to understand is the same rule goes for non-vegans too. This is all about how we look at how the food industry treats animals, and this is the main reason behind That Vegan Teacher's lectures. Forcing another person to change their lifestyle just because you think it's bad is not really a good thing, to be honest. Now about something I found pretty disgusting. In one of her YouTube videos, Miss Katie even addresses President Trump directly by singing an unpleasant, to say the least, song about his alleged constipation after eating meat. It seems to me that I neither have to nor want to comment on that, so if you really want to, watch that video for yourself. I can't hold you back from doing so. Anyways, it can also be seen in her other videos on both YouTube and TikTok. That Vegan Teacher does not limit her vocabulary, often using the F word in both titles and the song itself, which makes her appear vulgar and pretty aggressive. Okay, but I really think it's enough of her bad side. If I had to point a good side of that vegan teacher's activity, it would be that she is assertive and does not give up on her beliefs. I mean, sure, the way she tries to convince others to become vegan is usually weird and sometimes even disgusting, but I'm sure if you change your way of teaching, Miss Katie, you will convince more people to become a vegan. Of course, I have no authority over you to order you to do anything, but if you want to do something good for both sides and not only you, please stop targeting non-vegans because I'm sure it will be a positive impact on your image on the internet, and please start introducing and showing your audience some facts about animal meat and how it is produced. In other words, become a pacifist. Or at least neutral. Please. As I said, or I don't really know if I said that already, I don't hate that vegan teacher. But I think she should change her way of expressing her arguments to a less vulgar way, to say the least. And that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about today. Thank you so much for being here today and listening to my broadcast. Kirainen signing off.